the fuck is he doing?
Right.
At the most tense time, and then he'd bring it around, and that's why it reminds me of Chappelle. Because Chappelle would get so seemingly or ostensibly inappropriate, and then somehow bring it around.
Yeah.
And you go, fucking genius.
Dave's a master.
Master.
And he's a real artist.
Yeah.
That's a guy, like, I talk about like people that only start thinking about money.
Yeah.
That's not him. That dude lives in fucking Springfield, Ohio, and just travels around and just does a lot of shows for no money. He does a lot of shows for no money. He just shows up and performs. One time I was in Denver, and I get off stage. It's second show Friday night. So it's 10 o'clock show. Show's over. I get off stage. I go into the green room. Dave's there. I go, Dave, what are you doing here, man? He goes, I thought I'd come out and visit you. Just hops on a fucking private jet and flies to Denver because he knew I was there. Didn't even tell me. Just shows up. And then I go, do you want to go on stage? He goes, oh, should I? I go, fuck yeah. So I ran out while the people were leaving. The show was already over. I go, tell everybody on the stairs, come back. Dave Chappelle's here. So they all come back in and sit down again. And he does like 45 minutes. And it was right around when Trump was when he got caught saying grab him by the pussy. So he had like 10 minutes about grab him by the pussy. Like, it was fucking genius. It was so good.
Off the top of his head, though?
Oh, no. I don't know exactly how Dave
designed
creates
it is.
material. I think what Dave does is spends a lot of time thinking and listening to music and coming up with ideas.
Yeah.
And he writes some stuff down, but a lot of what he does is just performs constantly. He's constantly on stage working these things out.
You said it earlier, artist. And
He's
that's
a
the
real
difference.
artist.
That's the difference between somebody who's just good at what they do and somebody who is an innate artist.
He's a real artist.
He's a hero of mine.
He's a hero of mine, too, and he's a good friend. But he gets these giant deals with Netflix where he makes a lot of money, which is great, but he doesn't do it for money. He's doing it for
but what you can
art.
tell is he gets these like, he turned down $50 million, he went crazy, moved to Ohio, or whatever the fucking story is that you want to make up. But then he comes back, he makes these $20 million deals with Netflix, but it's never in place of his agenda.
No, it's all about the art. It's all about comedy.
About this wins. This is the priority.
That's why he left his show, because they were twisting it,
of course,
distorting it.
I know why he left his show, because I've been in that position where you go, this is turning into some corporate version of what you like. You love what I do. Now you can't wait to put your fingerprint on it.
Exactly.
That's it.
That's exactly what it was.
So you can go, that was me.
And he gave up $50 million when no one was giving up $50 million.
Nobody would fucking do that,
And then he quit doing comedy for 10 years. And you know what he would do? He would occasionally show up in a park with like a fucking speaker and just show up and do stand-up.
way,
Yes,
man.
he did. He did in Seattle. I know he did in Seattle because a friend of mine was at the show.
Wow.
He shows up. He goes, Dave Chappelle just shows up in this fucking park. And he gets a speaker with a microphone and he just starts talking.
Respect.
And people just gather around.
Respect.
He was just doing these like shows, these impromptu shows. He would show up in a bar. Can I go on stage? And they would go, okay. And he would just start
knowing
talking.
in his mind that he would eventually come back. No, that was just the present moment.
I think he's just being an artist. Just being an artist for the pure sake of being an artist. So he had the money that he did make off Chappelle's show, and he decided to like live frugally and take that money. And he didn't do anything for money for like 10 fucking years.
He just raised his kids.
And then he started coming back. Yeah. And then when he started coming back, I remember him coming around the Comedy Store again, and we had some conversations about it. And he just, he just decided to start doing comedy again. And then
you see people getting canceled now, and it's devastating to them, and yet that's what that was. He just did it himself.
Right.
He canceled himself.
Yeah. He canceled the greatest sketch show of all time.
Of all time.
Yeah. And it only did 2 seasons. It's still the greatest.
But that's not something that you see very often. It's somebody who just fucking can't help but beat to their own drum.
Right.
But the art wins in the end.
The art wins.
Do you know
for
what
him,
I mean?
Well, it's obviously when you see him, he's so good.
He's not malicious. He seems there are moments where you think he's malicious. And again, he brings it around.
Well, the maliciousness is just to heighten the humor. It all just like brings it in. It also accentuates like some thoughts that you might have about whatever he's talking about.
But it's what everybody's thinking.
Yep.
And so fucking terrified to say. That's why
everybody's thinking.
Even me.
Yeah.
I'm watching it, and I'm the inappropriate guy. And my dad goes, how the fuck do you say what you say? And I don't understand. I go, I said, honestly, do you want to know? Because I'm not ultimately mean. I don't want I don't want to fucking hurt. I don't want people to feel less than I do.
Right.
But I watch Chappelle, and even me, I'm like, whoa, fuck. Wow.
Yeah. He walks that line. He gets out there and walks that line, but he dances around it and he makes it beautiful comedy.
I appreciate it so much because without him, we're all fucked.
And he's the way to find out if a comedian's a cunt. Like, if a comedian doesn't like Chappelle, they start shitting on Chappelle, like, oh, okay.
Then you know he's a cunt.
You're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. You're just a garbage human.
Have you ever met anybody like that?
Yeah. A lot of these.
He's not a real comedian.
There's a lot
He's an asshole.
Yeah, there's a lot of like
that's not comedy.
Activist comedians, and what they are is really not talented. So they've glommed on to this idea of like being like socially conscious, and that's more important than the humor itself. But nobody wants to hear you preach. Yeah. Nobody thinks that your opinion is better than theirs. This is what I always say. Like, if you go on stage, you have an opinion. Like, other people have an opinion too. Like, if you go on stage and say, you know, I think Kamala Harris would be the greatest president of all time, a lot of people are like, well, I don't agree. But you have to have a way to make it funny so that they laugh. The people that disagree with you laugh. Like, I don't even think this guy's correct, but goddamn, that's funny. And that's a way you can introduce an idea into someone's head that maybe would never accept that idea. It was just opinions. So if someone's on stage and they're just saying opinions, like, you could disagree with that opinion, it'll frustrate you, and you can't talk, you don't have your, but if that guy can take that opinion and that perspective and make it funny, then you're forced to acknowledge that he has a point. Yeah. Like, there's something in there, like, I don't even agree with that, but fucker, goddamn, that was good. Goddamn, that was good. And that's the
It liberates, man.
Yes, that's the real Chappelle.